Have you ever wondered if everything you've been told about exercise after 72 might be holding you back? I have to admit, I used to believe the same things, that complicated gym routines and expensive memberships were the only way to stay healthy as I got older. It was frustrating, and honestly, it made me feel like staying active was just too hard or too risky. But then I learned something that changed everything. I remember watching my neighbor, a lively woman in her late 70s, struggle just to get up from her favorite chair. It was such a simple task, yet it became a daily challenge for her, and I felt that same quiet fear creeping into my own life. If this was happening to her, what about the rest of us? But here's the good news. There's an easy, gentle way to regain your strength and confidence without needing fancy equipment or complicated workouts. There are just 3 simple movements, backed by medical research, that seniors over 72 can do safely at home to prevent falls and stay independent longer. These moves are not only effective, but they also fit into your daily life, no matter your current fitness level. They quietly build the strength and balance you need to live life on your terms. So, what's the one movement you struggle with the most right now? Share your thoughts below, because you deserve to live better, safer, and stronger every single day. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. Now, let's begin. Movement 1. The Daily Stand-Up Challenge. It's funny how something as simple as standing up from a chair can change the whole course of your day, and, as it turns out, the whole course of your life. For most of us, getting up from a chair used to be the most natural thing in the world. You needed to answer the door, grab the phone, get a glass of water. Up you'd go, barely thinking about it. But one day, you might notice that you're leaning on the armrests, pushing up with your hands, or even pausing for a moment to gather your strength before you rise. If that sounds familiar, you're far from alone. Let me tell you a little story about my friend Violet. She's a retired schoolteacher, quick with a joke, and never shy to speak her mind. At 76, she was always on the go, but I noticed lately she was hesitating before standing, even from her favorite chair by the window. "It's nothing," she'd say, waving me off with that trademark smile. "Just being careful." But one afternoon, after her book club, I caught her using both arms to push herself up, looking just a little embarrassed when she saw me watching. That's when it hit me. What if this tiny moment was more important than we ever realized? What if, in these quiet daily struggles, our independence is quietly slipping away? As I dug into the research, I found out something that completely changed the way I look at this everyday action. According to the Mayo Clinic, the simple act of getting up from a chair without using your hands isn't just about leg strength or showing off for your grandkids. It's considered the gold standard for assessing functional mobility in older adults. Studies show that the ability to stand up from a chair unassisted predicts your risk of falling, your chance of ending up in the hospital, and even how long you might stay independent. The science is striking. Seniors who can perform 5 sit-to-stand movements in a row, without using their hands, have a 40% lower risk of falls and can live independently 60% longer than those who struggle with this task. Think about that. A simple daily movement, one you can practice anywhere without any fancy equipment, can be a stronger predictor of your future than almost anything else you do. It's more than just an exercise. It's a key to holding on to your freedom. But why is this movement so critical? Well, when you stand up from a seated position, you're using your legs, your core, your balance, and your coordination, all at once. You're also mirroring countless real-world activities. Getting out of bed in the morning, rising from the toilet, lifting yourself from a couch, or simply moving from one room to the next. It's an action that connects every part of your daily life, and losing it, even gradually, can mean losing the ability to take care of yourself. Violet's story is a perfect example. After that day at the book club, we sat together and talked honestly. She admitted she'd been avoiding outings with friends, worried that she might not be able to get up easily in public. The shame wasn't just about her body, it was about the fear of being seen as frail, of losing her independence. We all want to hold on to our dignity as we age. That's why the daily stand-up challenge is so much more than an exercise. It's a daily act of reclaiming confidence. The first step to mastering this movement is understanding how your body is working, and how to help it work better. If you've noticed you're starting to use your hands more, or you hesitate before getting up, you're already ahead of the game by paying attention. Many people ignore these small signals until a fall or injury forces them to confront the issue. But you can take charge now, and it's never too late to make progress. Let's break down the technique. Find a sturdy, comfortable chair, not too low, not too high. Place your feet flat on the floor, about shoulder width apart, and scoot forward so your back is away from the chair's backrest. Cross your arms gently over your chest, or let them relax at your sides. Now, the key is don't use your arms to push off. Instead, tighten your abdominal muscles. Imagine you're about to laugh or someone's about to give you a friendly poke. Lean forward just slightly, shift your weight onto your feet, and rise smoothly to a standing position, using only your legs and core. If you need to, pause at the top, take a breath, and then slowly lower yourself back down, controlling your movement. At first, this might feel surprisingly challenging. That's okay. It's not a race, and nobody's watching but you. The real goal is to build the strength, control, and balance that make everything else in your day easier. If you can't do it without using your hands right away, start by using as little assistance as you can, and gradually rely less on your arms over time. Even 1 or 2 attempts per day, done with care and attention, can set you on the path to improvement. Violet was nervous at first, too. She started with just 2 repetitions, her arms ready to catch her if she needed help. I sat nearby, just in case. Over the first week, she practiced every day, sometimes grumbling but always determined. By the end of the 3rd week, she was able to stand up 10 times in a row. No hands, no wobble, just pure, steady strength. I didn't know I still had it in me, she laughed. But what changed the most wasn't her legs, it was her spirit. She began going out more, accepting invitations, and even volunteering at the local library again. If you want to make this part of your daily routine, set a small goal. Try 1 or 2 stand-ups today, and tomorrow, try for 3. If you feel tired, rest. Your body is adjusting, and every bit of progress matters. Aim to add just 1 more repetition each week until you can do 10 in a row without feeling exhausted. The research says that's the sweet spot for maximum benefit, but every extra stand-up you do brings you closer to independence. Let's talk for a moment about why this movement matters so much for fall prevention. As we age, our leg muscles naturally weaken if we don't use them regularly, and our sense of balance can become less sharp. The stand-up challenge works both of these at once. It strengthens your quadriceps, the muscles on the front of your thighs, your glutes, the muscles in your hips and bottom, and your core, all while testing your ability to balance and coordinate movement. Think of it as a multivitamin for your mobility. One simple action that nourishes every part of your ability to move safely. I'll never forget the day Violet called me from her garden. She'd just finished pulling a few weeds and was about to stand up. I didn't even think about it. I just got up and walked inside, she said, amazed. That's the real magic here. Once you regain this basic skill, so many other parts of life become possible again. Climbing stairs, getting in and out of the car, picking up the grandkids, going to the park with friends. Suddenly, everything feels just a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Of course, it's not always smooth sailing. There are days when your knees ache or your energy is low. Sometimes, progress seems slow or even stuck. If you have arthritis or a history of knee or hip problems, it's wise to check in with your doctor or physical therapist before starting any new exercise routine. But don't let setbacks discourage you. Every day you try, every attempt you make is a small act of resilience. If you want to keep things interesting, add a bit of variety to your stand-up routine. Try changing the chair you use. Sometimes a slightly softer or firmer seat will engage your muscles differently. Once you feel confident, practice standing up from different surfaces: your bed, the couch, or a park bench. You can also try holding a light object, like a book or a small ball, across your chest as you rise. These little tweaks keep your body adapting and help you build even more strength. And don't forget to breathe. Many people, especially when they're concentrating, hold their breath as they rise. Instead, take a deep breath in as you prepare, and exhale slowly as you stand. Not only does this keep you relaxed, but it also helps your body find a natural rhythm and reduces tension. Let's step back and consider the big picture. The stand-up challenge isn't just about avoiding falls, though that alone is worth the effort. It's about keeping the door open to everything you love. Being able to get up with ease means you can continue cooking your favorite meals, tending your garden, playing with grandchildren, meeting friends for lunch, or simply getting a good night's sleep knowing you can get out of bed safely in the morning. For many seniors, the first sign of losing independence is needing help with basic movements. Getting up, sitting down, moving around the house. But what's incredible is that, with consistent practice, you can reverse some of those losses. Muscle strength, especially in the legs and hips, responds quickly to daily effort, even after years of decline. Research shows that people in their 80s and 90s can still gain strength and balance with targeted exercises like this one. It's never too late to start. Violet isn't the only one whose life changed because of the daily stand-up challenge. There's James, a retired mechanic from Kansas, who had spent months frustrated at the gym, overwhelmed by complex machines and worried about injury. After switching to the stand-up challenge and making it part of his daily routine, he found his legs growing stronger and his confidence returning. "I finally felt in control again," he told me. "It wasn't about showing off at the gym, it was about living my life." If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. And there's Betty, who had always prided herself on her independence but started noticing she was avoiding certain chairs at family gatherings because they were too soft. With a little encouragement, she began practicing at home, slowly building up from just 1 or 2 attempts. Within a month, she was getting up from her favorite armchair with a big grin, no hands needed. "I feel like myself again," she said. That sense of self, of being able to care for your own needs on your terms, is priceless. So, how do you know if you're making progress? Pay attention not just to how many repetitions you can do, but also how you feel afterward. Do you notice less fatigue when walking around the house? Are you reaching for the armrests less often? Has your confidence grown when standing up in public? These are the signs that your hard work is paying off. Some days, you might feel strong and steady, ready to take on the world. On other days, things might be a little slower. That's normal. Aging is a journey with ups and downs, but the stand-up challenge gives you a reliable tool to make every day just a bit better. The important thing is to keep going, celebrate small victories, and remember that you're investing in your future. I encourage you to share your journey with others. Tell your friends, your family, and your neighbors about the daily stand-up challenge. Maybe start a friendly competition. Who can do the most stand-ups in a row by the end of the month? Or simply check in with each other, offering encouragement and celebrating progress. Community and support make the process not only more effective but a lot more enjoyable. For those who want to track their progress, consider keeping a simple notebook or calendar. Jot down how many stand-ups you do each day, and note how you feel. Over time, you'll see patterns. On days when you're well-rested or eat a healthy meal, you might find things a bit easier. On days when you're tired or under the weather, it might take more effort. This isn't just about numbers. It's about understanding your own body and treating it with respect. Let's not forget the emotional side of this journey. Regaining a skill you thought was lost can bring an immense sense of joy and pride. For many seniors, the stand-up challenge becomes a symbol of hope, a daily reminder that progress is possible at any age. There's something deeply satisfying about moving with ease, standing tall, and knowing you're still in charge of your own life. As you continue this practice, you may even notice improvements in other areas. Better posture, improved mood, and a stronger sense of well-being. Movement, after all, is connected to every part of our lives. Our hearts, our minds, our relationships. By committing to this one small act each day, you're opening the door to a richer, fuller experience of aging. So, next time you settle into your favorite chair with a cup of tea or a good book, take a moment to appreciate the strength it takes to rise again. Remind yourself that every effort, every repetition, is a step toward freedom and independence. And if you ever feel discouraged, remember Violet, James, and Betty, ordinary people who took back control, one stand-up at a time. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel safe. And most of all, you deserve to live each day with the confidence that you can stand tall, move freely, and enjoy everything life has to offer. The daily stand-up challenge isn't just an exercise. It's a promise to yourself that, no matter your age, you can keep moving forward. Movement 2. The balance walk. There's a quiet kind of fear that can settle in as we get older. A fear that sneaks up on you in the form of hesitation. Maybe it's the way you pause at the top of the steps, scanning for something to grab, or the way you shuffle, just a bit, on a cracked sidewalk. For many of us, it's the memory of a friend who fell or a story on the evening news. You start to wonder, am I next? Will one misstep change everything? You're not alone if you've ever felt this way. Losing your balance isn't just about the risk of injury or a trip to the ER. It's about the fear of losing your independence, your confidence, and the freedom to move through the world on your terms. And yet, what if I told you that one simple practice, a movement you can do in your living room, could not only protect you from falls but also give you back a sense of security and joy in your body? Let's go back to a spring afternoon in Nevada, just outside Reno, where the sun was gentle and the desert wind smelled faintly of sage. Vincent, a retired postal carrier and garden enthusiast, knelt among his tomatoes, pulling weeds with methodical patience. He'd spent years walking miles each day, delivering letters, and waving at neighbors. But recently, his legs felt less certain. Twice in a month, he'd stumbled and caught himself, once on a sprinkler head, once on a loose stone. The last time, he landed on his knees. Nothing broke, but something inside him shifted. For days afterward, he avoided the garden, worried that the next fall might mean something worse. Vincent's story is achingly common. According to the CDC, over 32,000 Americans aged 65 and older die each year from fall-related injuries. Millions more end up in emergency rooms. And here's the surprising part. Most of those falls don't happen in icy parking lots or on rickety ladders. They happen right at home, on flat floors, in familiar kitchens, while reaching for a magazine or turning a corner. For seniors over 72, balance becomes one of the most important skills you can strengthen. But the good news is that balance isn't a gift you lose forever. It's a skill you can retrain, even late in life. So what is the balance walk, and why does it matter so much? The answer, simply put, is that it's the closest thing science has found to vaccinating yourself against falls. Researchers at Harvard Medical School have found that seniors who practice this simple movement, sometimes called tandem walking or heel-to-toe walking, for just 5 minutes each day can reduce their risk of falls by up to 80% within 2 months. That's not a typo. 5 minutes a day. No machines, no trainers, no fancy memberships. Just you, your feet, and a bit of space. But before we jump into the how-to, let's pause and talk about why balance fades as we age. Many people believe it's just about weak legs or stiff joints, but the truth is more interesting and more hopeful. Your sense of balance is a conversation between your brain, your eyes, your inner ear, and the hundreds of sensors in your feet and legs called proprioceptors. When you were younger, these systems work together smoothly, like a well-rehearsed orchestra. But with time, some players get rusty. Your eyesight might change. The inner ear becomes less sensitive. Those proprioceptors might stop reporting in as clearly. The result is subtle. You may sway a little when standing, feel uneasy in the dark, or find narrow hallways more intimidating. The balance walk wakes up those sleepy sensors. It forces your body to practice stability in a way that traditional strength training, lifting weights or marching in place, doesn't. Instead of isolating one muscle or joint, you're teaching your whole system to cooperate again. You're reawakening pathways in your brain that keep you upright, especially when life throws you a curveball. Let's return to Vincent for a moment. After his second fall, he felt defeated. The garden, once his sanctuary, became a patch of land he stared at through the window. I kept thinking, he later told me, if I go out there and fall again, maybe next time I won't get up. His daughter, worried, sent him a news article about the balance walk. It sounded too simple, almost silly, but he was desperate enough to try. He started with the basics, a clear path in his hallway, about 12 feet long, with a wall nearby for safety. At first, he held his breath and reached out, one hand hovering over the wallpaper. He placed the heel of one foot directly in front of the toes of the other as if walking on an invisible tightrope. On the first day, he could barely manage 3 or 4 steps before wobbling. His confidence was shaky, but the challenge sparked something inside him. He practiced every day, making a ritual of it. Sometimes he'd play music, Sinatra, mostly, to keep the rhythm. Within a week, he could go 10 steps without touching the wall. By the end of the second week, he walked the length of the hall and back. Each small victory was a celebration, a thumbs up in the mirror, a phone call to his daughter, even a silent toast with his morning coffee. What happened next is the magic of the balance walk. Not only did Vincent stop falling, but his confidence returned. He ventured outside, not just to the garden, but to the corner store. He stood taller, his steps less tentative. That spring, he harvested tomatoes by the bucket, feeling more like himself than he had in years. So, how can you make the balance walk work for you? Start by finding a safe, uncluttered stretch of floor. 10 to 15 feet is plenty. A hallway works, or even the length of your living room. If you feel nervous, walk alongside a wall or sturdy countertop so you can reach out if you need support. Don't worry if you're shaky at first. This is your brain and body remembering an old skill, and every attempt is progress. Stand tall, arms at your sides or gently extended for balance. Focus your gaze on a spot at the far end of the path. This helps steady you like a dancer spotting on stage. Now, take your first step. Place your right heel directly in front of your left toe, touching them as closely as you can. Then bring your left heel in front of your right toe, and so on, like you're walking on a tightrope. Go slowly. Feel every shift in your body, the muscles in your ankles, the way your hips adjust, the gentle sway in your torso. If you need to pause, do it. If you lose your balance, simply touch the wall, regain your center, and try again. Your goal isn't speed or distance. It's control and awareness. Imagine you're teaching your body how to navigate the world again, one careful step at a time. As you practice, you'll notice changes. Maybe you'll walk a little farther before needing the wall. Maybe your steps feel smoother and land less uncertain. You might even catch yourself correcting a stumble in the grocery store or feeling steadier when reaching for a can on a high shelf. This is your body rebuilding a foundation, a hidden safety net that lets you enjoy life's small adventures. You might be wondering, what makes this so much better than just walking around the block? The answer is that the balance walk specifically targets the integration of your vision, your inner ear, which senses movement and orientation, and the nerves in your feet and legs that tell your brain where you are in space. Harvard's research shows this movement is more effective at reducing falls than traditional strength or aerobic exercises alone, because it retrains the connections your body uses to keep you upright during unpredictable moments. Let's be honest, this isn't always easy. Balance is a sensitive subject for many seniors, wrapped up in pride and privacy. Nobody likes to admit they're worried about falling. I've met dozens of older adults who would rather struggle quietly than let anyone see their vulnerability. But it's exactly this courage, to face your fears and practice, even when it feels awkward, that makes all the difference. Consider Louise, an 81-year-old grandmother from Ohio, who always prided herself on being steady as a rock. When she started wobbling on the back porch steps, she shrugged it off. But after a close call with a laundry basket, she confided in her bridge group. To her surprise, everyone nodded. They'd all felt the same anxiety. They decided to practice the balance walk together at their weekly game, laughing at their wobbles and cheering each other on. "I never thought balance could be a group project," Louise chuckled, "but we made it fun. It brought us closer." If you like, you can add variations to the balance walk. Try closing your eyes for a moment, only if you feel safe, or walk backward, or turn your head gently side to side as you move. Each twist challenges your balance system in new ways, making it stronger. Just remember, safety first. If you ever feel dizzy, stop and steady yourself. Don't forget to celebrate your progress. Keep a tally of how many steps you can take without using the wall, or set a timer and see if you can balance for a minute longer each week. Small improvements are victories worth savoring. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Some people find that practicing barefoot or in socks, on a non-slippery surface, helps them feel the floor better, strengthening those tiny muscles in the feet and ankles. Others prefer sturdy shoes. There's no right or wrong. Do what makes you feel most comfortable and safe. Let's not overlook the emotional benefits of the balance walk. When you reclaim your steadiness, you also reclaim your confidence. You walk into church, a restaurant, or a family barbecue without scanning for the nearest chair or handrail. You trust your body to carry you, just as it did for decades. This feeling, the return of self-assurance, can be even more powerful than the physical changes. There's another unexpected bonus. Practicing balance improves your brain health. Researchers have found that exercises challenging your balance stimulate new neural connections and may even protect against memory loss. In other words, those 5 minutes a day aren't just keeping you on your feet, they're keeping your mind sharp, too. Of course, setbacks happen. Some mornings, you might feel stiff or out of sorts. Don't force it. Rest, hydrate, and try again later. If you have a history of vertigo, inner ear problems, or serious neurological issues, talk to your doctor or physical therapist before starting any new routine. They can offer modifications or alternative exercises to keep you safe. For caregivers and family members reading this, your encouragement is vital. Many older adults feel embarrassed about their balance, fearing judgment or pity. A gentle nudge, a reminder to practice, a word of praise, goes a long way. If you can practice together, turn it into a daily ritual, a moment of connection rather than a chore. I've watched seniors transform in ways that defy expectations, simply by embracing this small daily habit. There was Ed, a retired coach, who started with just 2 steps and a lot of cursing at himself. 6 months later, he was leading a walking group at his senior center. Or Miriam, who survived a hip fracture and feared she'd never leave her apartment again. The balance walk became her ticket back to the world, 1 step at a time. Here's the real truth. Balance isn't just about not falling. It's about holding on to your life, your freedom, your joy. It's about saying yes to invitations, to travel, to late-night dances in the kitchen. The balance walk is your way of telling the world, and yourself, that you're not ready to sit down just yet. So, why not start today? Find that stretch of floor, plant your feet, lift your chin, and take the first slow, steady step. Imagine Vincent in his garden, Louise with her bridge friends, and Ed at the head of the walking group. Join them, not just in moving, but in living, in thriving, in rewriting the story of what it means to age well. 5 minutes a day. That's all it takes to build a foundation for the adventures yet to come. And remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is a triumph. You have the power, right now, to walk your way back to confidence, strength, and independence. The world is waiting. Let's keep moving. Movement 3. The functional reach. Some skills slip away so gradually that we hardly notice they're missing until a moment of frustration or fear reminds us. Maybe it's the day you bend to pick up a sock and realize it's suddenly harder than it used to be. Or when you're standing on tiptoes, fingers just brushing the back of a kitchen shelf, and you hesitate, worried about losing your balance or straining your shoulder. Sometimes it's just a vague sense of shrinking boundaries, a slow retreat from tasks you once did without thinking. This is the silent loss that steals independence, the quiet erosion of our ability to reach, stretch, and move through our homes safely. But here's the truth. You don't have to accept shrinking boundaries as your fate. You can reclaim the simple, powerful ability to reach safely, confidently, and on your terms. Let me tell you about Gladys, a 73-year-old retired librarian from Vermont. For years, Gladys prided herself on running a tight ship. Her shelves were always tidy, her kitchen meticulously organized, her sweaters folded in neat piles high in the closet. Then, over one winter, she noticed she was avoiding certain chores. She'd ask her grandson to fetch a bowl from the top cupboard. She'd let dust gather on the baseboards, and she started stacking things on the lower shelves instead of putting them away. "I just felt awkward," she confessed. "Like my body was betraying me, bit by bit." But Gladys wasn't alone. Millions of older adults experience the gradual loss of what doctors call functional reach, the ability to bend, stretch, and retrieve objects from different heights and distances without losing balance or getting hurt. It's a skill so ordinary that when it's missing, it's easy to overlook the consequences, until suddenly, a small slip turns into a big problem. Here's what research from Johns Hopkins School of Medicine has shown. For seniors, maintaining functional reach is more than a matter of convenience. It's a key predictor of whether you'll continue living independently or need daily help. Studies show that seniors who keep good functional reach are 70% more likely to remain in their own homes past age 80, compared to those who lose this ability. Why? Because so many essential activities, cooking, cleaning, dressing, laundry, even hobbies, depend on reaching, bending, and stretching. Lose those skills, and your world shrinks, sometimes faster than you think. So why does functional reach fade? It's not just getting old. It's often a mix of things: weaker muscles, tighter joints, poor balance, and sometimes a lack of practice. When reaching starts to feel risky, we naturally avoid it. And the less we practice, the weaker those skills become. The good news? With the right approach, you can rebuild your confidence, retrain your body, and protect your independence for years to come. For Gladys, the turning point came the day she tried to make her famous lemon pound cake for her granddaughter's birthday. The mixer was on the top shelf, and as she stretched for it, her foot slipped, sending the heavy bowl crashing down. No one was hurt, but she was rattled, angry at herself, and quietly scared. "That's when I knew I had to do something," she said. "I wasn't ready to give up my kitchen or my life." She reached out to her doctor, who sent her to an occupational therapist. That's where Gladys first learned about the practice of functional reaching, a set of skills and movements designed to strengthen her balance, flexibility, and confidence. Over time, with steady practice, she not only got her mixer down from the top shelf but found herself rearranging her kitchen, vacuuming under the bed, and even tending her flower boxes again. What does functional reach involve? It's not just one movement, but a combination of safe bending, stretching, and retrieving, all while keeping your balance and protecting your body. Imagine all the small moments in a day: reaching up for a coffee mug, bending to tie your shoes, retrieving laundry from a low basket, or stretching sideways to open a window. Each requires a blend of balance, flexibility, strength, and spatial awareness. Let's break down the main components and why they matter. Overhead reach. Safely reaching for objects above shoulder height. Waist level reach. Extending your arm out to grab or push items at or near waist level. Low level or floor reach. Bending to retrieve objects from low shelves or the floor. Lateral, side, reach. Stretching sideways for items just out of arm's length. Each type challenges your body in a slightly different way, and each can be practiced gently and safely at home. How do you get started? First, be honest about where you are today. If you're avoiding certain movements, that's okay. Just noticing is the first step. Before you practice any new movement, make sure your space is clear and free of obstacles. It's smart to have a sturdy chair or countertop nearby for support if needed. 1. Overhead reach. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart to create a stable base. Engage your core, those muscles in your abdomen and lower back that keep you upright. When reaching up, use the arm closest to the object. Keep your movements slow and controlled, and use your free hand to steady yourself if needed, placing it on a counter or sturdy chair. Avoid leaning or twisting from the waist. Instead, let the reach come from your shoulder and upper back. Gladys learned this after a near miss in her kitchen. Her therapist showed her to keep her feet planted and grow tall through her spine, almost as if reaching for a prize on a high shelf as a child. I used to stand on tiptoes and wobble, she laughed. Now I stand solid and stretch, and I feel so much safer. 2. Waist level reach. For items at or just below waist height, reach forward by sliding your hips back and keeping your chest lifted. This is called a hip hinge. Imagine you're closing a car door with your backside. It keeps your spine safe and distributes the load to the strong muscles in your legs and hips, instead of straining your lower back. This technique became a favorite for Gladys when she cleaned out her pantry. Instead of bending from the waist and risking a pulled muscle, she used the hip hinge to slide canned goods in and out with confidence. It felt silly at first, but then I realized I could do more without pain, she said. 3. Low level or floor reach. When retrieving items from the floor or low shelves, never bend at the waist alone. Instead, take a wide stance and lower your body by bending your knees and hips together, almost like a shallow squat. Keep the object close to your body as you pick it up, and use both hands if possible. If you're unsure about your balance, ask for help or use a reacher/grabber tool. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The first time Gladys tried this, she felt her legs tremble. But over time, the movement got easier, and her knees felt stronger. She even began doing a few gentle squats by her kitchen table, just to keep the habit going. 4. Lateral, side, reach. For reaching sideways, turn your whole body in the direction of the object rather than twisting at the waist. This keeps your balance centered and prevents accidental loss of balance. One day, Gladys tried to open a stubborn window by stretching sideways from her chair. She nearly tipped over. Her therapist taught her to stand, plant her feet, and face the window squarely before reaching. It made all the difference. Safety first. Never rush. Always move slowly and focus on control, not speed. If you ever feel dizzy or unsteady, stop and steady yourself. Using assistive devices like grabbers, step stools with handrails, or sturdy ladders is a smart strategy, not a sign of weakness. Gladys now keeps a grabber tool in her kitchen and another in her bedroom. It's just common sense, she smiles. Why take a risk when you don't have to? Practice makes progress. Try to incorporate these reaching movements into your daily routines. Reach for plates, books, or even TV remotes with intention and attention to your body's alignment. Set aside 5 or 10 minutes each day to practice reaching different heights, maybe while putting away groceries or organizing a drawer. If you want to challenge yourself gently, Try a simple exercise. Stand tall and reach both arms overhead. Hold for a few seconds, then lower. Reach forward with both hands, keeping your back straight, then return. Reach down to touch your knees or shins, using the squat motion described earlier. Reach one arm out to the side, then the other, turning your torso gently. Repeat each movement a few times, always listening to your body. Tracking your progress. Keep a small notebook or calendar and jot down when you practice how far you can reach, or if you notice daily tasks becoming easier. Celebrate small victories. Maybe you can reach the top cupboard again, or pick something up off the floor without help. Share your progress with family or friends. Sometimes they'll notice your confidence growing even before you do. The emotional side. Reclaiming your reach isn't just about physical skills. It's about restoring pride and joy in your daily life. When Gladys got her groove back in the kitchen, she started hosting Sunday brunch again. When she could change a light bulb herself, she called her daughter in triumph. Each time she reached farther, she felt the world open up just a bit more. Regaining functional reach also connects you with memories. Dusting a family photo high on a shelf, sorting through old letters, digging in the garden, or decorating for holidays. These small acts are woven into the fabric of a full life. Adapting your environment. Part of reaching safely is knowing your limits and setting up your home to support you. Store frequently used items within easy reach, between waist and shoulder height if possible. Use pull-out shelves, lazy Susans, or step stools with handrails to make your kitchen, closets, and laundry area safer. Install grab bars in bathrooms and near steps. Gladys reorganized her whole house after her awakening. She asked her grandson to help label and rearrange shelves, so nothing important was out of reach. "It made me feel powerful, not helpless," she said. When to seek help. If you ever feel your balance worsening, or you experience dizziness, pain, or sudden weakness, talk to your doctor or a physical therapist. They can assess your movement and suggest personalized exercises or safety devices. Bringing it all together. Practicing functional reach isn't about turning yourself into an acrobat. It's about keeping the doors of your life open to cooking, cleaning, gardening, playing with grandkids, and all the daily joys of living in your own home. With steady effort, the right techniques, and maybe a little help from family or friends, you can push back against the boundaries that aging tries to draw. Gladys's journey is living proof. She still laughs about the time she fired her grandson as an official top-shelf fetcher. She bakes, she gardens, and she rearranges her bookshelves every season. She is, in her own words, the queen of her castle, and that, she says, is worth every minute of practice. You are not powerless. Every stretch, every bend, every careful reach is a statement. I am here, I am capable, and I'm not done yet. So next time you hesitate before reaching for that bowl or stoop to pick up a stray sock, remember Gladys, and all the others who found strength, safety, and freedom in the simple act of reaching. You deserve to live in a home that feels like yours. You deserve to move with confidence, to take care of yourself, to enjoy the little things, because those little things are the heart of life. Functional reach is more than an exercise. It's the key to keeping your world wide open, no matter your age. So reach for it. Every day. And if you need help, don't hesitate to ask, because independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. Sometimes it means learning, adapting, and embracing support. The world is still within your reach. Don't let it slip away. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause and reflect on something truly important: your independence. The three movements we've talked about aren't just exercises. They're tools for living life fully, safely, and on terms. Whether it's standing up from your favorite chair, walking with confidence, or reaching for the things that matter most, each step you take is a step toward freedom. I know it's not always easy. There will be days when your body feels tired, when progress seems slow, or when fear creeps in. But remember, every small effort counts. Every practice, every repetition, is a quiet victory. People like Violet, Vincent, and Gladys remind us that age is not a barrier to regaining strength and confidence. Their stories are proof that with patience and determination, you can reclaim your life. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 3 movements do you find most challenging? Which one gives you hope? Sharing your experience could inspire someone else who's walking a similar path. You're not alone in this, and together we can support each other. If you found this video helpful, please like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more practical advice designed just for seniors. Remember, you deserve to live better, stronger, and freer every single day. Keep moving forward. You've got this.